This will be my Wheel of Time Season 2, Episode 3 review. Now today we're going to run through a recap of the episode. I'll tell you what I liked about it, what I didn't, and then we'll give the episode a rating. So let's dive in to Episode 3, titled What Might Be. Let's kick things off with the recap of the episode. We'll kick things off with the Shienarans and Perrin, who we last saw captured by the Seanchan. Damani makes the rounds, pointing out women who can channel that will be taken captive. Watching this irritates the Shienarans quite a bit, specifically Uno. He wants to fight back and is noticed by one of the Seanchan soldiers. When they're all asked to swear the oaths, a soldier points out that Uno should go first. He's taken to the foot of the palanquin and is told to swear the oaths to the Seanchan. Predictably, Uno spits and instead of swearing the oaths, has his head slammed through a spike at the end of the palanquin. R.I.P. Uno. This causes the other Shienarans and Perrin to bow as well to avoid the same fate. Later on in the episode, Perrin is being transported by carriage or something to Falm with the other Seanchan soldiers. He awakens chained up inside of one of those carriages with Ishamael sitting right there with him. They speak briefly and Ishamael tells him the more of a wolf he becomes, the more he belongs to the dark, which obviously scares Perrin quite a bit. Ishamael leaves right as Elias and a bunch of wolves attack the caravan to rescue Perrin. Perrin runs away at the direction of Elias with a wolf, one who I'm sure that we're going to spend some more time with in future episodes. In Kyrian, Rand is now taking care of Logan at that sanatorium, and Logan knows why Rand is there. Logan had seen Rand in Tar Valon when he was being paraded around, and he could see that Rand could channel. Rand asks Logan how to control the One Power, and Logan tells him that he will not tell him unless Rand can secure him a bottle of Gildan and Red, an expensive wine from Gildan, which is Logan's home country. Rand asks Selene if she has any of that type of wine because she's supposedly an innkeeper, and she says no, but she takes him to a party in the city with a bunch of nobles, disguised as nobles themselves. So at the party, Rand speaks with a Lady Oliver, who asks Rand what he's going to do about an invitation from some other noble that he received. Rand simply burns the invitation, not wanting to get involved in the scheming. Of course, that makes Lady Oliver even more curious. Selene returns with the wine, but as soon as Rand has it in his hands, he leaves her at the party and goes straight to Logan. Rather than telling him how to control the One Power, though, Logan tells Rand that he cannot control it at all. Then he shows Rand that he's absolutely crazy by still claiming to be the Dragon Reborn. Rand leaves really upset that Logan could not help him. When he returns to the inn, Selene screams at him and tells him that if he ever leaves her again, she will kill him. And I believed her. Then they sort of make love. Rand starts channeling wildly. It kind of flashes away, making me believe that's a dream sequence. And when Rand wakes up, he's still channeling and he burns the inn down, ending his story in the episode thus far. In the tower, Nynaeve enters the arches for her accepted test, watched by Liandrin, Shiriam, and Lyanna. In the first arch, she encounters her parents who were killed when she was young. She relives the events where they were killed by bandits, and rather than being able to help, she's forced to leave them and go through the arch as they struggle. The second time in the arches, Nynaeve is forced to face a dying Tam Al'Thor who has a disease that can't be treated by the new wisdom, Natty Cawthon. Natty has been giving the sick doses of an herb that will ease their pain, but will also kill them and put them out of their misery. Unable to heal Tam, Nynaeve makes a promise to Tam to look out for Rand, even though she believes him to be dead, which of course makes her feel very, very guilty. He keeps telling her it's great to see her and that she should never leave him, which of course then the arch opens up and she has to leave him. When Nynaeve enters the arches for the third time, she has a bizarre experience where she's dressed like a Red Aja's sister, and then she reappears outside the arch, unable to remember what happened. She's holding on to Lan's Hadori, so she believes she was forced to leave him to die, even though she can't remember it. Believing that all the Aes Sedai want her to do is turn her back on those that need her, she decides to leave the tower and go home. On the way, she meets Lan, and they decide to go back to the Two Rivers together. Unknown to Nynaeve, though, she is still inside the arch and misses the reappearance of the way back. Now, back in the tower, Liandrin is blamed for forcing Nynaeve into the arches too soon, and she is visibly upset herself at losing Nynaeve and believing her dead. Liandrin then goes to see Mat, frees him, telling him that she has no use for him, after she also makes him feel like shit. Mat then leaves to find Egwene, but can't bring himself to face her because Liandrin convinced him that all of his friends think that he abandoned them. He instead decides to leave the tower with Min. As they are set to leave, it is revealed that Min and Liandrin are conspiring together some way, somehow, about something. something, and they seem to have a place in mind that they want to take Matt. Egwene is distraught from finding out that Nynaeve is supposedly dead. She tries to activate the arches herself to bring Nynaeve back, but she's unable to do so. Her and Elaine decide to stay in the room for the night, and hopefully that Nynaeve will just pop out or something. Inside the arch, though, Nynaeve has settled into a life in the Two Rivers with Lan. They seem to be having a lot of fun together. They have a kid. Perrin and Matt come and visit them, and Matt brings a letter from Egwene saying that Trollocs have swarmed over the border in Saldaea. Now, they all have dinner together with Nynaeve and Lan's daughter, but the dinner is interrupted by the Trolloc busting through the door. There are more of them outside, and Nynaeve goes out to help them after putting her daughter in the cellar to hide her away. Matt is dead. She watches Perrin die. She watches Lan die. After seeing all of those deaths, she has one of those Nynaeve explosions and kills all the Trollocs, but then she sees the arch appear. Additionally, her daughter has come out from the cellar, and more Trollocs are on the way. She grabs her daughter, and they run through the arch, but Nynaeve emerges on the other side with her daughter gone and blood in the place all over her dress. Egwene comforts her as the episode ends. Well, that one was rough. So let's jump into the review, starting with what I loved from this episode. Let's again highlight some absolutely standout performances. Zoe Robbins as Nynaeve just killed it in this episode. She's able to show such emotion on her face, and it was a real big highlight for me in this episode. Kate Fleetwood continues to rock it this season. She's playing up for a Best Supporting Actress, in my opinion. Liandrin as a character has been so humanized, and it makes me curious what she is playing at. I'm very intrigued by that plot line. She was genuinely concerned for Nynaeve in this episode, and it makes you wonder, what is her agenda? I thought the way the arches were done was great, and they certainly nailed the emotional impact that should come from that. I thought it was really powerful, and it was a great representation of trauma and impact for those that stuff would have on a person. One thing that could have gone weird on us that I thought was pulled off really well was the Shan-Chan accent. If you're not familiar, Robert Jordan said that the Shan-Chan had like kind of a Texas drawl. They did have a little bit of a Texas accent here, and it was extremely creepy. It was done well. Suroth's voice had an almost uncanny valley type communication style that gave the Shan-Chan a very evil and creepy vibe. I thought that worked really well. One thing I know, though, that will upset some of the people that I actually thought was a great idea was Uno biting the dust. He's a big enough character that it sets the stakes on the show to be that anybody can die, but he also doesn't have a large enough role in the rest of the series that it causes serious problems. Yes, he's there. I know people. He lasts all the way through, but he doesn't have a meaningful role that's going to have a lot of impact. So I'm okay with that, and I thought the gruesome way in which it was done really makes the Shan-Chan look bad, which is kind of what they're going for. In Rand's plotline, I thought his interactions with Logan were interesting, and it's actually somewhat interesting that they're making Logan crazy this early in the story. It does show Rand what may be in store for himself, and I think that's kind of a smart decision, especially for non-readers who maybe not understand what going crazy looks like. But that's as long as they're able to do something with Logan in his future, because I don't want to lose him as a character. Rand and Celine's interactions were also great, especially after he returns from seeing Logan, where she threatens to kill him if he ever leaves her again. That is the Celine that I know. So, what didn't I like from this episode? Well, as much as I think some of their interactions are good, I'm still not sold on the Rand and Celine plotline. I think it's the weakest of the plotlines, and while I see her manipulating him, I'm just not sucked into the dynamic that much. It's not as interesting to me as it probably should be. There are also a few changes that they've made that are not consequential. So when I bring these up, they're not a big deal, but that's kind of the point, right? They're not a big deal, so why did we even change them? So I'll give you an example. Having the King of Cairhien be a Queen of Cairhien. Again, not a big deal one way or the other. It just seems like an unnecessary change. I know this is a world where women have power. It was always that way in the books. However, we already showed Agomar as a male ruler, so I don't know that it was necessary to keep that going here, so I'm wondering if there's another reason why they made that change. Honestly, again, it's very irrelevant, but because it's irrelevant, that actually makes the change odd to me. Another one is Logan being able to see Rand channel even after he's gentled. I saw that when Logan explained it, the word talent was capitalized, meaning that it's sort of an innate ability for him, but that was never a talent that we knew about from the books. It just seems like a somewhat lazy attempt at writing to explain away the need for Logan to be able to see Rand can channel. They should have just simply stuck with the fact that he can see ta'veren. That might have been more believable to me. Probably the biggest criticism of the episode from me, though, is really the fact that this is now the third time that we have fake deathed Nynaeve. It's a trope that has become overused, I think, and especially it's been used over and over with Nynaeve. It's not that I'm against using that in a story. It can be a way to tell a story. It's just that it's done so often now, and they keep going back to that well. I don't think it was particularly noticeable, so that's good, because it paid off in one episode rather than it lasting and being a cliffhanger into the next, but they shouldn't have done some of the earlier ones if they were going to do this here. Specifically, Nynaeve coming back to life, quote unquote, at the end of episode 8, that was just pointless. So what were my overall thoughts on the episode? Well, this was still a great episode of television. I thought the scenes with Nynaeve and the Arches were particularly good and emotionally impactful. The plot lines are beginning to move, and the White Tower plot lines are by far the best. Uno's death to me was good, but the other plots that are moving right now just need to be more engaging, in my opinion. I need more out of Matt. I need more out of Perrin. I definitely need more out of Rand, and I really didn't miss Moraine and Lan in this episode. Again, the overall quality of the show is very good. There are just some plots that are far more interesting to me than others. For episode 3, the strength of the Arches plotline carries the episode, in my opinion, but the other parts just aren't on that same level. Episode 3 is going to get a very solid 7 out of 10 for me. What did you think, though, of episode 3? Let me know in the comments of the video. Do you agree with my rating? Why or why not? Let me know. Make sure also, though, to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Wheel of Time book and TV show related content. I have hundreds of videos on this channel all about the Wheel of Time series. Check them out. I also have more videos coming breaking down each of the episodes of Wheel of Time Season 2. Thank you to my patrons who make these videos possible. This type of content is never going to get a ton of views, so your support makes these videos worth making. You can become a patron by clicking on the link in the description of the video. If you liked this video, though, you will probably like one of these right here. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace out.